Welcome to the Chosen Few, where today we join Royal Air Force Bomber Command as they strike the industrial heart of Germany. So if you would like to join in with the story, please either pick a number between 1 and 99, or take a look on the screen and pick one of the 99 aircraft that took part in the mission. Then place your answer in the comments below. Now let's see if you survive. RAF Scampton briefing room, 18:30 hours. The air is heavy with anticipation as they sit waiting for the briefing to start. The group captain makes his way to the front of the room and proceeds. Gentlemen, this morning at dawn, Germany launched a full-scale invasion of Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Their armored columns are already pushing west, and paratroopers have seized key bridges and airfields. The Low Countries are falling fast. Tonight, we strike back. Your target is the Ruhr, the industrial heart of Germany. Mönchengladbach, Duisburg, Essen. These cities feed the German war machine. Rail yards, munitions factories, supply depots. If we hit them hard, we slow their advance. You will have nearly 100 aircraft. You'll be flying in box formation. Primary target, the rail junction at Mönchengladbach. Secondary, marshalling yards at Duisburg. The weather over the target is broken clouds, with a 70% illumination. Navigation will be visual. Bombing will be by sight. Expect flak. Expect fighters. This is not a raid over occupied territory. This is Germany itself. This is the first time Bomber Command hits the Reich directly. History will remember this night. Make it count. The sound of boots echoes down a corridor as the aircrew leave the briefing room. The map was folded. The orders given. Now came the silence. Crews filed into the dusk, their breath misting in cold May air. The sun had set, leaving the moon and humming engines warming on dispersal. Ground crews moved with practiced urgency, fueling, arming, and checking hydraulics. The Hampdens stood like dark silhouettes against the fading light, their twin tails casting long shadows across the tarmac. In the crew huts, flight jackets were zipped, parachutes slung over shoulders, and final letters tucked into breast pockets. No one spoke of fear as they walked out to their aircraft. They didn't need to. RAF Scampton dispersal, 19:10 hours. The light is fading. The aircraft looms. Hampden P-1347, call sign, Red Fox, sat on the edge of dispersal, its twin tails silhouetted against the moonlit sky. For men would take her into Germany tonight. Flight Lieutenant Jack Mercer, pilot. 28. Calm, methodical, with a reputation for flying by instinct when instruments failed. He'd flown over Heligoland last winter and come back with flak holes in both wings. Tonight, he checked the trim tabs one last time, then lit a cigarette with hands that didn't shake. Sergeant Tom Grigson, navigator. 22. A former railway clerk with a mind like a compass. He'd memorized the route, the backup route, and the escape route. His charts were folded, his pencil sharpened, and his eyes fixed on the moon. Corporal Eddie Lane, wireless operator. 19. Youngest on the crew, but sharp. He'd tuned the set twice, checked the trailing aerial, and tucked a photo of his sister into the side pocket of his flight jacket. He didn't talk much, just listened. Sergeant Bill Mac McAllister, rear gunner. 25. Glaswegian. Tough. He'd cleaned his twin Vickers K guns with ritual precision and marked the flak zones on his turret glass with grease pencil. He'd flown with Mercer before. He trusted him. They didn't speak much as they climbed aboard. Just nods, handshakes, and the quiet clatter of boots on metal. The mission had begun. The moon is rising. The aircraft glows faintly in the lamplight. Inside the cockpit of Hampden P-1347, the crew moved with practiced rhythm. No wasted motion. No chatter. Just the ritual of readiness. Mercer, the pilot, flicked the magneto switches and leaned forward. Trim tab set. Fuel tanks, port and starboard. Griggs, the navigator, checked the dials. Port full. Starboard 3/4. Should see us through to Cologne. Mercer nodded. Hydraulics. Lane, the wireless op, called from behind. Green across the board. Aerial stowed. I'll trail once we're airborne. Mac, the rear gunner, climbed into his turret, settling behind the twin Vickers K guns. Turret rotates clean. Guns are fed. I mark the flak zones on the perspex, just in case. Griggs unfolded his chart, smoothing it across his lap. Course 092 to the coast, then 118 to the IP. We'll swing south over Duisburg. The target marker should be visible if the cloud holds. Mercer glanced at the altimeter. We'll climb to 10,000 before the coast. Lane adjusted the headset. Radio check on group frequency. Receiving Scampton and Hemswell. Waddington's faint. Mac tapped the turret glass. Let's hope we don't need to talk to Waddington. Outside, the ground crew gave the thumbs up. Mercer reached for the starter. Right then, gentlemen. Let's go make history. 20:05 hours. Altitude 10,000 feet. The Lincolnshire coast slips away beneath them. Red Fox leveled out, her engines humming steadily. The moon hung low and bright, casting silver light across the sea. Below, the coastline faded into shadow, England behind them, Germany ahead. Mercer scanned the horizon. Griggs, confirm heading. Griggs adjusted his chart. Course 118. We're on track. Hemswell's boys should be coming in from the north. Lane, the wireless op, leaned forward. Group chatter confirms. 5 aircraft are forming up. Waddington's flight is late. Mac, in the turret, rotated slowly. I've got 2 Hampdens off port. One high, one low. Looks like 83 Squadron. The formation began to take shape, dark silhouettes against the moonlit sky. Twin tails, long wings, steady flight. No lights, no chatter, just the quiet ballet of war. Griggs marked the IP on his chart. 20 minutes to Duisburg. Then we swing east. Mercer nodded. Keep her tight. If we get split, we're blind. Outside, the air grew colder. The sea below shimmered like oil. The Hampdens flew on, a silent procession of shadows. 20:45 hours. Altitude 10,000 feet. Approaching Duisburg. The moonlit calm was shattered with a burst of orange light. Mac, in the rear turret, was first to speak. Flak. Port side. Low. Mercer tightened his grip on the yoke. Hold formation. They've seen us. Outside, the sky bloomed with fire. Orange bursts, jagged and sudden, lit the clouds from below. The formation banked slightly, adjusting course. The Hampdens flew on. Griggs leaned over his chart. We're crossing the Rhine belt. This is where it starts. Lane adjusted the radio dial. Group chatter's breaking up. Too much interference. I'm getting echoes. Another burst, closer this time. The aircraft jolted. A sharp crack echoed through the fuselage. Mac shouted. That was close. Starboard wing. I saw the flash. Mercer kept his voice steady. Check for damage. Griggs, confirm heading. Griggs replied, calm but clipped. Still on 118. The target marker should be visible in 5 minutes. The flak intensified. The sky was alive now. Trace of fire streaking upward. Bursts of light chasing shadows. The Hampdens pressed on, silhouetted against chaos. And still they flew. 20:50 hours. Altitude 11,000 feet. Over Duisburg. Trace of fire stitched the sky. The flak was heavier now, bursts of orange and black blooming like thunderheads. The formation was scattered, each aircraft flying alone in the chaos. Mac, in the turret, rotated hard to starboard. I've got eyes on Black Swan. She's low. Port engine smoking. The others turned, straining to see through the haze. Griggs leaned toward the side window. She's banking. Too steep. A burst of flak erupted just beneath her. The aircraft jolted, then dipped, nose down, trailing fire. Mac, voice hollow. She's hit. She's going. They watched in silence as Black Swan spiraled downward, a trail of smoke marking her fall. No parachutes. No signals. Just the long descent into the burning city below. Mercer, after a moment, marked the time. 20:45, over Duisburg. No one spoke. The mission continued. But something had shifted. A weight added to the silence. A name that wouldn't be called at dispersal. 21:05 hours. Altitude 10,000 feet. Over the Ruhr. The fires were visible now, flickering orange veins across the dark cityscape. Smoke curled upward, lit from below by explosions. The target was close. Griggs hunched over his chart. Target marker confirmed. That's Mönchengladbach. Rail yards are just east of the glow. Mercer adjusted the trim. Hold her steady. Bombardier, take the sight. Lane switched to internal comms. All aircraft, prepare for release. Red Fox is on the final run. In the nose, the Bombardier leaned into the bomb site. The circular reticle framed the city below. The roads, the winding river. The crosshairs hovered over the junction. Mac, in the turret, rotated slowly. Flax thick. I've got bursts at 2 o'clock and climbing. Trace of fire streaked past the canopy. One burst lit the sky, just off the port wing. The aircraft jolted, but held course. Griggs called out. 10 seconds to release. The city glowed below. The bomb site locked on. The crew held their breath. Mercer called bombs away. The bombs were gone. The aircraft jolted slightly as the load released. Orange blossoms blooming across the rail yards. Smoke curled upward, lit from beneath. The target was hit. Mercer banked the Hampden gently to port. Turning 270. Let's get out before they wake up the fighters. Griggs folded his chart, eyes scanning the horizon. Course set. We'll skirt Duisburg and swing north over the Rhine. The flak had thinned, but the sky still pulsed with distant bursts. The formation was scattered now, some aircraft visible, others lost in cloud and smoke. Mac, in the turret, rotated slowly. I've got movement. Starboard, high. Can't tell if it's ours. Mercer replied, calm but firm. Keep eyes on it. If it turns, call it. The aircraft flew on, engines steady, wings level. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by a quiet tension. Every creak, every flicker of light outside the canopy felt sharper now. Griggs checked his watch. 40 minutes to the coast. Then another hour to Scampton. Lane tucked the photo of his sister back into his pocket. Let's hope the runway lights are still on. Behind them, the Ruhr burned. Ahead, the long road home stretched across the night. 21:20 hours. Altitude 9,500 feet. Over the Rhine. The aircraft shuddered. A low vibration ran through the fuselage. Not the rhythm of engines, but something deeper. Something wrong. Mercer glanced at the gauges. Griggs, check port engine temp. Griggs leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Climbing. She's running hot. Lane, voice tense. Wireless is intermittent. I'm getting static on all channels. Mac from the turret. We've got a hole. Port wing. Big one. Looks like a flak burst caught us clean. Mercer pulled back gently on the yoke. The aircraft responded, sluggish, uneven. Trims off. Rudders stiff. We're flying crooked. Griggs checked the chart. We're still on course. But if that engine goes, we won't make the coast. The crew fell silent. The mission was done. The target was hit. But now the odds were shifting. 50-50. Maybe less. Lane adjusted the trailing aerial. Trying to reach Scampton. No response. Mac rotated slowly, scanning the sky. Still clear. But if fighters find us like this... Mercer didn't answer. He just stared ahead, hands firm on the controls, eyes fixed on the horizon. We'll nurse her. 1 mile at a time. Behind them, the Ruhr burned. Ahead, the moonlit sea waited, and the long gamble home. 22:15 hours. RAF Scampton. Altitude 2,000 feet. The airfield shimmered in the distance. A string of pale lights against the dark Lincolnshire fields. The moon hung low, casting long shadows across the dispersal. They were almost home. Mercer adjusted the throttle. Port engines rough. I'll keep her high until the final. Griggs checked the chart one last time. We're lined up. Wind steady. Runway 22. Still no radio contact. But I've got beacon tone. They know we're coming. Mac, in the turret, rotated slowly. I can see the tower. Lights are green. The aircraft creaked. The port engine coughed, then steadied. The rudder was stiff. The trim was off. But she was flying. Mercer called out, "Gear down." The wheels groaned into position. The altimeter ticked down. The runway grew larger in the windscreen. Griggs whispered, "Come on, girl. Just a few more seconds." The Hampden dipped. The engines roared. The crew braced. Mercer, voice steady. Touching down. And then... contact. A jolt. A bounce. A long roll. The wheels held. The aircraft slowed. They were home. Mercer stood beside the battered Hampden. Flight jacket unzipped. Cap tucked under one arm. The crew gathered close. Griggs, Lane, and Mac. Faces streaked with oil and fatigue. Ground crew worked quietly behind them. But the moment was theirs. "Gentlemen, we made it. We flew into the teeth of it tonight. Over the Ruhr, through flak so thick you could walk on it. We held course. We dropped on target. And we brought her home. I've flown with good men before. But tonight, I flew with the best. Griggs, your charts kept us alive. Lane, you held the signal when the sky went silent. Mac, you watched our backs when no one else could. And every one of you, you stayed steady when the odds didn't." He looked back at the aircraft, smoke drifting into the moonlight. "She's hurt. We're tired. But we're here. And that means something. Tonight, we did our job. And tomorrow, we'll do it again. Because that's what crews like ours do. You've earned your rest. You've earned your place. And you've earned my respect. Every bloody inch of it." He paused, then nodded once. "Well done, lads. Let's get inside." In the debriefing it was quiet. Maps still pinned to the wall. Coffee cooling in tin mugs. The crew of Red Fox sat in silence. Jackets unzipped, boots scuffed, eyes hollow. The door opened. Group Commander Albright stepped in, cap under one arm, face drawn but resolute. "Gentlemen." He paused, scanning the room. His voice was firm, but not cold. "Tonight, you flew into hell. You held formation. You hit the target. And you brought your aircraft home. Damaged, yes. But flying." He stepped closer, eyes meeting Mercer's. "Red Fox did her job. And so did you." He turned to the board. A red chalk mark had been added beside Black Swan's call sign. "We lost good men tonight. Flight Lieutenant Hargreaves and his crew. No signals. No shoots. They went down over Duisburg." The room remained still. No one spoke. Mac stared at the floor. Lane clenched his mug. Griggs blinked hard. Albright continued. "Their loss is ours. But their courage is yours. You flew with them. You fought beside them. And you came back to tell it." He stepped back, voice rising just slightly. "You did your duty. You honored your squadron. And you honored the men who didn't return." He nodded once. "Well done, Red Fox." Dismissed. The crew stood slowly. No cheers. No handshakes. Just quiet steps into the cold night, carrying the weight of survival and the memory of those who didn't. So were you one of the lucky ones? There was only one casualty during this sortie into Germany in the story. The aircraft was number 52 Black Swan. In real life, the lost aircraft was a Hadley Page Hampden from 50 Squadron flying out of RAF Lindholm. So join me in a moment to remember the true heroes of this story that answered the final call. Flight Lieutenant R. Hargreaves, pilot. Sergeant R. Smith, navigator. Sergeant J. Brown, wireless operator. Aircraftman First Class R. McCulloch, air gunner. Thank you for joining us again, and look forward to seeing you next time.